My name's Neil Harding. I am from Waiheke Island. I did a first aid course a couple of years ago. In that first aid course I downloaded the AED Locations app and realised that there were hardly any defibrillators. When I looked at Waiheke through the eyes of cardiac failure, I realised we had a real problem. We've got 96 kilometres of coast, 93 square kilometres of land and one ambulance. There were certain areas of the island that I looked at and thought if anything happens to anybody, they're dead. And when you look at the stats around cardiac failure, you've got 3 to 5 minutes, 10 minutes with good CPR to get a defibrillator to someone. I thought we've got a bit of a problem. But I'd like to think that if we can put things in the right place, if that happens, we can help someone. I felt that this would be a really good Rotary project, so I went to my local Rotary club and put this to them, and they suggested that it was a really good idea. We see this as a long-term project for the community that is going to add a lot of value. The first thing was to convert existing defibrillators into 24/7 defibrillators. So for me, having a defibrillator in a business that's got restricted hours, you know, can you count on that defibrillator? I mean, Murphy's Law says that when you need it, the place is probably shut. So once you get the defibrillator to the person and you push the button and start the machine, it pretty much takes over. So it's diagnostic. The machine will actually analyse the heart and see if a shock is required. So this is an example of a cabinet similar to what we've used on Waiheke. So we've installed 37 of these cabinets on Waiheke and a few also in Auckland. And you can see it's a fairly solid, robust, 316 grade stainless steel. You put in an access code which you get from 111 operations when you ring them. They'll give you the code to open the cabinet. You then open the cabinet and inside is a defibrillator. And this defibrillator, or AED, an AED stands for Automated External Defibrillator. And this is what the defibrillator looks like. It's very, very simple to use. You push the button, it starts talking you through. There's adhesive pads that you take off that you'll then put on the patient. This is the shock button. If it advises that the patient receives a shock, this is the button that you push. The great feature with this defibrillator, which is why we've selected this one, it's got an adult-child switch. So children under 35 kilograms need a lesser for shock. So we switch it across to child mode if it's a child. It's normally set on adult mode because it's most likely that it's going to be required for an adult. Very, very simple, very easy to use. Anyone can do it. As first responders, the important thing is to get that defibrillator and get it onto the person as quickly as possible. And this is pretty much on the basis that if there's any delay in an ambulance, the person is alive when the ambulance gets there. And that's the critical point, is that what happens in the first few minutes before the ambulance gets there is probably the greatest determinant of survival outcome of that person. If I had my way, I would make it compulsory that every business had a defibrillator. The most important message to people is that this is really simple. It's not difficult. When someone collapses, it's obviously the worst case scenario for someone to collapse in front of you, particularly if you're there by yourself. But understanding that the process is simple, people's lives can be saved, and you can make a difference.